us are, again, 6 engineering students from Penn State. In addition to that, the older folks here, myself, Matthew Anicle, Mr. Lloyd, department head from Norwin High School, and then Ms. Maraldi, who is in charge of the Penn State Engineering Ambassador Program. It's a large group, so normally I say, what's a typical day like for you guys, like pre and post pandemic? But since you're all undergraduates, I imagine it's pretty much the same thing. You're all pretty much probably at home with your family right now, so there's not going to be a lot of diversity there. So if you could briefly maybe just go around, introduce yourself, maybe say where you're from and what year you are at Penn State and what you're studying at Penn State. And we'll throw in, best Penn State Creamery ice cream flavor. How's that? I'll toss one out for the Penn State fans there. So it doesn't matter who starts.
All right, I can start. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm originally from Douglasville, Pennsylvania. I'm a graduating 5th year here at Penn State studying engineering science and applied mathematics. And my favorite creamery flavor is, I forget what it's called, but it's only during Halloween. It's like cookies and cream with a caramel swirl. I'll think of it. I'll let you all know.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Hey guys, I'm Charlie. I'm from real far away. I graduated from Norwin High School with Mr. Anicle and Mr. Lloyd as teachers. So I'm finishing my 1st year at Penn State studying civil engineering. And I just have to go with Monkey Business for my favorite creamery flavor. It's like peanut butter, banana, and chocolate.
Hi guys, I'm Emma. I'm a senior in mechanical engineering. My family lives in Erie, Pennsylvania right now, but I grew up in DuBois, Pennsylvania. And my favorite creamery flavor is hands down Happy Happy Joy Joy. It's like an almond joy kind of flavor. It's wonderful.
Thanks, Em.
Hey guys, I'm Erin. I'm a sophomore civil engineering major. And I'm from around the Harrisburg area, so like central PA. And my favorite creamery flavor is definitely chocolate chip cookie dough.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Heiler. I am from Villanova, Pennsylvania. I'm studying biomedical engineering and I am odd. I don't like ice cream, so whenever I go to the creamery, I usually get their coffee, which is really, really good.
Fair enough, fair enough.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexa, and I am a senior studying chemical engineering. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my favorite creamery flavor is probably apple pie. It's usually only in the fall, but it's my absolute favorite.
Okay, excellent. All right, fantastic. Well, thanks to everyone. And Ms. Morali, do you want to hop in the mix here real quick?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Lori. I am the director of the Engineering Ambassador, so I get to hang out with these 6 wonderful students along with a lot of other really talented Penn Staters. I've been at Penn State for a lot of years, I think 15, 16, something like that, in various capacities. And so my favorite creamery ice cream is definitely Coffee Break.
Oh, that sounds like something Morgan could get behind there. I mean,
that's right. I love the Coffee Break ice cream.
And Ms. Raleigh, could you give a quick overview of what the Engineering Ambassador Program is all about at Penn State?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a group of engineering students. I'm not, who are really passionate about engineering and passionate about sharing engineering with students like yourself and students even younger than yourself. So we go into elementary, middle, and high schools and do short presentations about a topic that's related to engineering, and then do some hands-on activities with, typically when we're all in school, do some hands-on activities related to that topic, talk about kind of their journey as engineering students, what they're studying, what all the opportunities are within engineering. A lot of people, when they think about engineering, maybe think immediately about, mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, but there's such a broad spectrum of different disciplines, different areas and subject matters you can go into within engineering. And these students can definitely speak to that. We have civil, chemical, biomedical, all sorts of different disciplines here, and there's a lot of exciting things happening in engineering. And so we really want to share that with younger students and, really encourage people to explore this as a potential career path.
It's exciting. And it sounds like a nice sort of outreach program, and then you guys do a lot of other stuff as well to round things out. So that's thanks for all you guys I know being an engineering student is not the lightest curriculum. So it's awesome that you guys are, investing a little extra time in a program like this. I think it's going to pay off for you guys, and then also pay off for all the other individuals who, like the students observing today, who get a chance to hear from you. So thanks for doing that. Awesome. All right, so let's we'll do a softball pitch then here for this one. If you guys can go around, give me 30 seconds. I don't know. I don't want to tear the Zoom apart with this question, but why is the engineering that you're majoring in the best one? How about that? We'll do that. why is yours the ideal? There's a kid in the audience right now who doesn't know what kind of engineer they want to be. You've got like a 30-second elevator pitch to explain why your field of engineering is the one that they should go into. Are you ready? Okay, who wants to take the first stab at it here?
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead, Emma.
Right, I'm mechanical engineering, so like Lori said, this is probably the one you've all heard of the most, because it's kind of like typical engineering. I think it is the best because you get to study a little bit of everything. Anything that has moving parts, you get to study. So that's like planes, trains, automobiles, but also any kind of like small system, like even like electronics in your phone, you get to study a little bit of that. So it's kind of like getting to study engineering at a buffet, because you get to do a little bit of it all and you have unlimited options for what you can do after graduation. So that's my pitch.
Nice. Excellent. Was there another mechanical in the mix? Are you the only mechanical? Charlie, are you thinking civil? Okay, no.
Aaron and I are both civil. So I would argue civil is the coolest in my opinion, because it's so integrated in everything we do with infrastructure. And you really only notice it when things go wrong, because the purpose of civil engineering is for you to not notice that bridge when you cross over it. It's to not notice the drainage pipe that keeps your house from being flooded. It's to not notice your toilet backing up because the sewage system doesn't work anymore. It's all these crucial things that people shouldn't have to think about. So civil engineers do the thinking for them and take care of their water, their wastewater, their bridges, their roads, everything like that. And it's just so integrated in everything you do. You can't, now that we're in quarantine, it has a little bit less relevance, but generally you can't get to school without roads. You can't get to work without roads. And they're all just so important to everybody's day-to-day life.
And you want to build off of that, or?
Yeah, I'm going to hop on the civil train and keep going. Yeah, so civil engineering, why I chose it, it's really like the people engineer. That's what I kind of thought of it as, because you not only are dealing with like transportation, building roads, building houses, building structures, but you also have the options of environmental engineering or geothermal engineering, or water, like wastewater engineering. So really you get this broad sense of basically helping people and like people's everyday needs that you're engineering.
This is strong arguments. Who's next in the queue?
So I think biomedical engineering is the coolest engineering because we get to work on stuff that's like helping people today with like the virus. Like we're the people who are helping create new types of ventilators, and we're helping create the vaccine that can like save people's lives. And you know, it's a lot of healthcare work. It's a lot of trying to improve people's lives, and I think that's why it's the best.
That's right. Excellent. All right. Alexa?
Yeah, so chemical engineering, I think it's the coolest engineering. I wasn't ever one for like mechanical stuff. Like I'm not super into cars or anything, but chemical engineering is all about just chemistry, and that's what I loved in high school. So I think it's the coolest engineering because there's a whole bunch of different fields you can work in. So like oil, gas, even pharmaceuticals. So like Morgan said, making vaccines or producing new drugs that can help save people's lives. So yeah, that's why I think chemical engineering is the coolest.
Excellent. Thanks. And then Jeremy, you're sort of I don't want to say the odd bird here, but you've got a sort of a different flavor of engineering than what's.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes it the best, because you can kind of take everything.
Well, tell us what it is first, and then go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So what engineering science is? Your first 2 years of your undergraduate education is just like any normal engineering. You'll do your mechanics, you'll do your statics, you'll do all that stuff. And then your last 2 years, you basically get to pick and choose what classes you take and what you get to focus in. So you could take engineering science and apply it to chemical. You could take it and apply it to civil, because you just take all these engineering classes in chemical engineering or civil engineering. And so what I like to think of it as is you have your base of a Lego table, and then each piece you put on are the different classes, and you kind of make your own unique major out of the classes that you take. And I don't know, to me, if I could just create my own major, I don't see why I wouldn't do that.
All right. Now, Jeremy, is this, it's an engineering science degree? Is that officially what it's called?
Engineering science, yep.
Okay.
And it's an honors program.
Is that kind of exclusive to Penn State, or do a lot of
So
other
I
campuses?
thought so, but Lori apparently found some other engineering science out there. So I would say it's a little bit, the program is unique to Penn State, even though the major may differ from school to school.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thanks.
If I could just jump in for a minute, the
Sure.
students on the call, if you're curious about other majors too, so we have a lot of other majors at Penn State, architectural, help me out here, architectural, electrical, computer science, data science, what else am I missing?
Biological.
Biological, industrial, yeah. So nuclear, yeah. So we have a lot of other majors at Penn State, and the 6 engineer ambassadors on the call are pretty well versed in those majors as well. They give tours on campus. So if you have questions about those majors as well, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, and thanks for those. Thanks for the contributions. We won't take a vote from the audience who they felt was the winner as far as that debate goes. We'll just wait a couple years and see what they major in, and then that'll tell us, I guess. So, all right. So how about let's think back to high school now, for the benefit of our audience. A question came up, sort of focusing on AP classes, but we could sort of broaden it a little bit in terms of before attending Penn State, when you were at high school. Can you identify maybe a particular class that now in hindsight you feel has been the most beneficial leading into an engineering major? And it doesn't have to be an AP class, but if it's an AP class, that's also cool.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So my way back when, 6 years ago, when I was taking AP Physics, it's called 1 and 2 now?
Yeah, they split it. Did you take B or C?
So what would be? I took B.
Okay, yeah.
So that would be 1.
Yeah, they split B into 2 courses.
Oh, into 1. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's 1 and 2 is what used to be B.
Okay, so I guess taking AP Physics 1 and 2, I really got a sense of applying everything I was learning in my other classes, like my math and my other even like chemistry classes, to like the real world. We were solving real world problems, whether it was a rocket flying or you're throwing a ball a certain distance. It was really the thing that taught me kind of what we can do with everything that we've been taught already. And I had a great physics professor, as I'm sure you all do here. And I think just kind of culminating that and putting it into application, I think it's one of the first classes that you really get to apply something you've learned outside of the classroom, even though it's in the classroom. I don't know if that makes sense, but that would be kind of what impacted me to kind of lean towards engineering. And I didn't know I was going to do engineering when I started. I thought I was going to be a business major, and then I switched to engineering.
Okay. While we're in the mix of high school, why don't we throw that in the mix then too? Well, if when you were in high school, is that also what you thought you were going to be doing too? Because that's an interesting point, Jeremy. Thanks. Who wants to follow up on that?
I can go next because I agree. My AP Physics was also my most helpful class. Like Jeremy said, you learn how to approach problems with knowledge that you already have, and that's like one of the biggest parts of engineering is learning. Like once you see a problem, you're like, okay, how can I even start this or go about it? So that kind of got me in that mindset, and it was really helpful for my other classes because I felt like I was a little more familiar with things I had seen before because of physics. And so it put me in a good spot. And I'd say that's pretty true of all the challenging like upper level courses I took in high school. No matter what, at the end of the day, I was happy that I took them because it is kind of like a safe way to get familiar with different topics before you have to take them in a real college classroom. So for me, I felt a lot better going into my college classes knowing I had some background.
And did you think you were going to be an engineer when you left high school, or is that
I did, but not until like when I was applying to college. That's like when I actually decided.
Okay.
So I did plan to come in as a mechanical engineer and stuck with it. But all throughout high school, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll be like a math major, a teacher. I don't know. I had no clue until the day came when I had to decide and apply to college.
All right, and just stuck with it, huh?
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. All right, thanks, Emma. Who wants to take another stab at it?
All right, so go ahead, Morgan.
Oh, no, it's okay. Okay, so in high school, in hindsight, I think that the classes that were most helpful were probably, for me, AP Chemistry and like AP Calc. So in biomedical engineering, we have to learn a lot of chemistry. We have to take organic chemistry if you're the materials option or if you're the biochemical option. But I think that for me specifically, I didn't take this in high school, but I think that if I had taken AP Comp Sci, it would have been really, really helpful because a lot of engineers are required to use different programming languages. And I didn't know that going into college, but I wish that I had learned it in high school before I got to college because I kind of just got thrown into a comp sci class and I was like, I have no idea what to do. But I think the thing that made me choose engineering, it wasn't any of my classes. And I heard that you guys have this at your high school. You have the Science Olympiad program.
Yeah.
That's I did that in high school. I did the build events and that allowed me to get a lot of really good hands-on experience that I would have never had in class. And that is ultimately like what made me decide to go into engineering. And I was between biomedical and aerospace because I really liked biology, but I also did like the flight build events. So I was like, airplanes.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Who have we heard? I think Alexa and Aaron and Charlie technically. So
I can go.
all right.
So definitely to reiterate what others have said, I took chemistry and AP physics, and those were definitely courses that kind of started leading me down the science path. Although you don't have to be really good at physics to be an engineer. I love physics and it did not like me at all, but that was okay. But definitely being able to apply math and kind of just like your knowledge about how gravity works and everything like that and being able to create a system like a projectile motion, that was really cool to me. And then as I was talking to some people about like what different majors are out there that like could be around physics, engineering just kept popping up. But when I originally came in, I thought I was going to be a chemical engineer. But of course that did not end up happening. I really like civil, so I went that road.
Okay, thanks Aaron, thanks. And then Alexa or Charlie?
Yeah, I can jump in. So I think the course that most helped me find that engineering was where I wanted to be, we actually had a like introduction to engineering course at my high school. I'm not sure if you have something similar, but at least from my high school, we had like an all-girls section. And I just wanted to be in a class with all of my friends that were girls. So we all took this class together and then we ended up loving it. So that's kind of how I got started on the path to engineering. But I also kind of figured that out really late. Like I took that class my junior or senior year of high school. So I didn't really take like AP physics or AP calc. So coming into college, I thought that would like not hold me back, but like I wouldn't be as far ahead, but it turns out it doesn't matter. So still pushed through those introductory courses. And while I didn't have the same foundation, I was still able to get through those courses. So yeah, it worked out in the end.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's important for kids to hear. Absolutely. And then, so Charlie.
I've definitely always been on the engineering train and certainly civil in the last couple of years. I just want to stress to all the high schoolers on the call, if you feel you're willing to take on the challenge, take as many AP classes in high school as you can because they really do benefit you when you get to college. At least in my circumstance, like for civil engineering, you have to take 4 math classes for that through Penn State. And I was able to knock out 2 of those, Calc 1 and 2 in high school, which I know Norwin has set up that you can do that. And by doing that, I've eliminated 2 semesters of math at Penn State. And if I want to, I can graduate a year early. So that can be a huge financial savings. It can be a huge benefit to expand your major. You could get a double major if you don't have to take some of those early on classes. Kind of similar to what Alexa said, we at Norwin had the engineering, intro to engineering design, I think they called it. I see Leah's on the call. She was in the class with me. But it was almost like a shop class with engineering principles, and it was, let's take a problem and figure out how to do it. Like one semester we just spent taking the entire time learning how to sort marbles, and you had to do the programming, you had to do the coding, you had to build the machine. And I think being able to see that whole process start to finish was really beneficial. But besides that, of course, AP Physics was definitely beneficial. I think for the high school kids here, one of the most surprising things about college is the pace of it. So what was covered by Mr. Anicle's AP Physics from August through late May in an entire Norwin school year, I just covered in AP or Physics 212 at Penn State from mid-January until early May. So you're learning all this material with calculus this time in such a short span of time, that having at least been familiar a little bit with those concepts definitely stands to benefit a lot. And I've seen other students struggle with it because they just didn't have that exposure in high school. So get yourself as much exposure as you can and as much credit as you can for anything you take in high school, because it really is good stuff and you can benefit from it.
Yeah, and Leah responded in the chat. Yeah, I totally forget about. They're in a different department from us. They're in the tech department downstairs. So, but we do have a course entitled Introduction to Engineering, and then they've got engineering drawing and principles of engineering. We've got some additive manufacturing and robot courses and stuff. So, so there's a pretty ambitious technological curriculum available here at the high school. So that's good to hear. Okay, awesome.
Maybe Leah could answer in the chat, but I saw some news article that Mr. Schuber's classes were making an autonomous vehicle or something.
That's just like Thursday at Norwin, Charlie. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, they're always doing something weird down there. I don't know. The other year it'd have to swim through hoops, and this year I'm not sure. But yeah. So,
if I could just jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Just take what you like. I know it's all going to come down to what you want, even if it's not engineering. Just find, it'll take a semester or two, figure out what you want. Like Charlie was saying, get that exposure as much as you can in high school. But if you don't worry about it. Like, you'll have plenty of time to reroute or whatever. Just take what you're interested in, take what you like, because it'll benefit way more in the future for sure.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's nice to hear the varied perspectives on that. But I think you guys all basically agree to challenge, take a lot and challenge yourselves. And I don't know, my personal opinion is always to avoid the study hall. Instead of the study hall, swap something else in that you can learn from. But that's okay. That's just my opinion. All right. The fact that we have people from such a range in the engineering program, I'm gonna try to take advantage of that with the next question. So in terms of the groups, we have Charlie and Aaron that are sort of at the start. And then we have Morgan, who's a junior, and then Alexa and Jeremy are towards the end of the program. Would it be possible for you guys to give us a sense of how the engineering program changes as an experience from when you're like a freshman to when you're a senior? Can you guys sort of team up on that, depending on where you are in your program? Like what would an engineering student experience as they sort of go through? So why don't we start with the earlier the year? So Charlie and Aaron, like you're on the starting end of your engineering degree. So what's it like for you guys? Like a typical day?
So only being 2 semesters in at this point, I can give the freshman year perspective, and maybe Aaron can piggyback with what your second year classes start to look like. But second year in engineering is really just like foundational classes. In high school, you have your classes like it's a biology or science department class, or it's a shop department class or whatever. Similarly, in college, it's labeled as like a physics department or engineering department or whatever. Almost none of your classes, your first year or two, are going to be labeled as engineering classes. They're your calculus, math, physics, chemistry, all this background stuff that you just have to build up. And there's certain classes they label as entrance to major. and you have to get like a C or better in those classes to be accepted into the major that you want later on. So that's really what the first year is all about, is just getting your foundation set.
Okay. And then the second year, Erin?
Yes. So second year, you're still taking those, excuse me, you're still taking those introductory courses, but now we have this thing called a credit window, where basically you can declare your major in engineering once you hit this credit and if you have the right GPA. So during your sophomore year, that's normally when you would hit it. Of course, Charlie's going to hit it this summer, he said. So you're able to now, like, as you're still taking these introductory courses, you're able to declare your major. And so you're kind of looking forward to what you want to be doing. So you might be looking in your classes what major you want to declare. But you're still kind of in a holistic engineering curriculum still. You're not really focusing in on anything. But that's sophomore year, basically.
Okay, excellent. And Erin, is there an advantage to declaring early? Do kids strive to declare early? Is there a reason to do that? Or is it fine just to still be in sort of exploratory mode a little bit?
So people to declare early if they want to graduate early, or if they want to like double major, double minor. There's a lot of benefits to it. But it's completely fine to stay on track. Getting one engineering degree is amazing. Getting two is even, that's awesome. But declaring, it really just depends on what you want. It's not really better or worse. It's kind of specific to each individual person.
Okay. And I would just remind, for the benefit of anyone watching the video, again, while these people's experiences are specific to Penn State, a lot of engineering programs have a similar sequence in terms of how you do it. I know, for instance, Pitt, nobody has a specific engineering major as a freshman, and then in junior or sophomore year you're doing it. So it's a similar trend. All right. So Morgan, you represent the entire junior class. So what's
Yeah. So junior class is probably the most difficult out of all of the 4 years, but it is the most interesting, I think, because you are basically taking all of your major classes. So every single class I'm taking is a biomedical engineering class. Every single class I'm taking, it has fundamental engineering applied to the biomedical realm. So I might be learning mechanics, but after I've learned the mechanics material, they will go in and say, okay, well, this is how these mechanics work in the human body. So I think it's awesome. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, and also as a junior, are you starting to look for internship experiences? Is that part of the junior realm too, or?
Yeah. So internships you can really get whenever. So I know a lot of people, they get internships going from freshman year to sophomore year. I had one from sophomore to junior, and then I also have one this summer. So it really depends on you. It really depends on if you want an internship over the summer or not. You're definitely not required to have one, but I think for most people, their junior to senior year summer, they definitely try to get at least one internship.
Okay. All right. Nice. I assume that's a little messed up given the current circumstances, but it's
actually good.
Oh, really? You still got it?
Yeah, I still have it.
That's awesome.
I'm in upstate New York, so it's very rural. So
okay.
Okay.
Well, that's good news. Excellent. All right, and then we have a gaggle of it now, individuals. So we Emma and Alexa are seniors, and then Jeremy, you are. Jeremy always has to be a little bit. Jeremy, you are a fifth-year senior, so you can emphasize the difference between that and being a regular senior like Emma and Alexa. So Emma and Alexa, you guys want to go first, and we'll let Jeremy wrap it up, I guess.
So yeah, I can kind of jump on in this. So like Morgan said, your junior year is usually very theory-based and learning the principles of your major. But then senior year, it kind of takes a turn towards group work and group projects. So as an engineering major, we usually have to complete a capstone, which is a huge group project. So you have 4, 5, 6 other engineering majors working on this one big project. So one part of engineering that a lot of people don't think about is the teamwork required by this major and by this career. So I think senior year, there's a lot more emphasis on this, more emphasis on organization, team, communication, and then just applying everything you learned into this huge project that kind of culminates all the knowledge that you've gotten up until that point.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I would agree. This is kind of the year that's felt the most like the real world because you are working in those teams and learning things as a team that you'll directly be able to apply once you're an engineer out in your job. But something I also wanted to emphasize is that what kind of surprised me as I went along in college is you start off thinking like, oh my gosh, those are the seniors. Like they must know what they're doing and they know like all that they need to know. They're ready to go out. But as you get closer to senior year and complete those courses, you realize everyone's still learning. No one really knows for sure what they're doing or how to do it. You just get a lot better at learning how to approach things, learning how to use your resources, how to make connections with other people, and get through those classes together. So you'll feel more comfortable going into your new classes than freshman year when you're like kind of scared out of your mind to start those new classes. But there's always that element of like, I'm still learning. There's still so much that I can do while I'm here.
Excellent, thanks. Jeremy, what's your experience to add to the conversation?
Yeah, so with a fifth year, it's really not too much different than the senior year. I'm doing a fifth year because I'm also double majoring in applied math. So I've kind of spread each kind of intermixed throughout my years. But I think my last year, and this could be kind of amplified with my major just because I do have a lot of freedom in it. But your last year or two is really, it's really refining your major to your degree. So it's taking civil engineering and you can focus on, so you usually get a little bit of leeway in the classes you get to pick. We call them electives, tech electives. And so those are classes that your department will put out that have a list of 5 or 6 classes and you have to take like, let's say 3 of them. And they range within your degree from, let's say, I am terrible at giving examples because I do not have like a real specific major. But if you want to take like mathematical modeling, advanced dynamics, like stuff like that, like they kind of span a range of stuff of area of interest within your major. And so your last year or 2 years in my case are really about making your major your degree. And so it's taking civil engineering and saying it's civil engineering, but I want to work on roadways or highways or infrastructure for ways. See, like, I don't know.
Help him out, civil engineers. He's struggling.
I know.
No, but the idea is it's an opportunity for you to put sort of your own focus on the trajectory you want to leave university with. And then, so thanks. I think that's an awesome view of the sort of the life cycle of an engineer at the university. If I could ask the seniors as well, how much of a pressure or is there associated with being a senior and starting to have to split your time between your studies, but then also looking forward to either graduate school or a career? Has that been difficult to juggle in your senior year?
Yeah. So the job hunt is a stressful time, not only because it's your last year and you want to kind of make sure you're hitting it off in the right foot, but the job hunt starts, especially at Penn State. We have our career fair pretty early in our fall semester. So you're job hunting pretty much as soon as you get back. Now you have a pretty good handle of school at this point, so that's not a super huge burden at this point, but you are really kind of working 2 jobs. One is school and one is job hunt or graduate school in some cases. But the thing that you can kind of take away is hopefully you've been down this road before in terms of like internships and stuff like that. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I was expecting. I knew what I had to do. I knew kind of the life cycle of a job hunt. But it's definitely a stressful time. But what I kept reminding myself is there are 40,000 other people here who have done, and way more who have already graduated, that have done the same thing and have been just fine. They've found jobs, done the school thing. So it's definitely different it's definitely a little bit more work, but in the end, I think the benefits kind of outweigh the little bit there.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Alexa or Emma, you have anything else to add to the senior grad school job hunt?
Yeah, I do. So I think it can be stressful, like Jeremy said, but there are also a lot of cases where students have done internships and they come into their senior year with an offer from the internship they were at. So that was my case, and I know a lot of other people who were in a similar situation. So I felt pretty comfortable going into the job hunt because I knew anything that I got was going to be in addition to that offer I already had. And so for me, it wasn't quite as stressful. The harder part of being a senior at Penn State is that you don't really want to leave, at least in my case, because you just love it there so much. It's like a wonderful little community. And once you leave the Penn State bubble, it's like, okay, this is what I'm leaving. So that's the harder part of being a senior, I would argue.
Alexa, anything to add to that then?
So yeah, I'm actually not graduating this May. I'll be graduating next fall.
Okay.
And that's because I took a co-op, which is like an internship. So I went and I worked for a company for an extended period of time from May to December. So that got me a lot more work experience. I got to take on a lot bigger projects with that co-op, but that also pushed back my graduation a bit. But I think it comes back to like having that internship or that co-op experience is really what helps you market yourself to companies, show that you have experience, and also to help you find that this is what you want to do. Like this is the job or this is the engineering discipline that you're most interested in, or you find an industry that you're more interested in. So yeah.
Nice. That's great. I appreciate the perspective that all you guys bring to the table there, and thanks to Ms. Maraldi and Charlie for help bringing such a diverse collection together. You guys really cover all the bases for pretty much any question I can ask, so that's awesome. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's like 10:45 right now. If I could keep you till 11, I think that gives us time for about 2 more questions. So one question is from the chat, and they wanted to know about clubs or extracurriculars that you guys maybe like limited to like one per student. What do you do when you're not in engineering class, and why do you spend your time doing that? Because as an engineering student, your time is precious, absolutely. So what gets your free time, and why do you do that?
So overall, there's just so many cool options. I forget what the number is that they always throw out on tours at Penn State, but there's like 1,000 clubs or something. Like it's almost ridiculous how many different groups there are. Some are just for fun. Some are definitely good like resume builders, things like that. So just to spit off a couple real quick, there's like Intramural Sports. If you want to do that, it's kind of like in high school if you went down to the gym in the morning to like play sports or whatever during activity period or something. You can do that. I'm in a 3D printing club, which is really cool. They have access to all this cool stuff. And then there's like professional ones, like there's the American Society of Civil Engineers, and it's a really good thing to have on your resume so that employers know you're serious about this stuff. And then I did Model United Nations in high school, so I've continued that in college, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with my major, but it's kind of like a nice break from it that I can go do that and solve world nuclear problems, or pretend to at least. And it's a nice break.
Good. Well, again, I mean, and in the leadership structures, I mean, people with a good science background do find themselves in leadership positions in governments and stuff like that. So it's a good. What country were you most recently, Charlie?
I have not attended any conferences with them because they're super competitive. But we host conferences. Okay. So we hosted high schoolers in the fall, and we were supposed to host college kids in the spring, but that didn't happen. Yeah, so we worked on a World War I conference in the fall, which was cool.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, who's next?
I can go next. So along with, I'm in a bunch of like engineering ambassadors, other engineering organizations. But an organization that isn't engineering that I really love is I'm in the pep band for Penn State. The men and women's basketball games, as well as the women's volleyball games. And that was something really cool for me. It wasn't that big of a time commitment other than like a 1-week practice. So I was still able to like do well in my studies, but it gave me kind of an outlet that wasn't math, or I met a lot of people that weren't asking me what I got on my physics final or something like that. but I really loved music in high school. And I think that going into college, you really want to stick to what you like to do, because school can kind of envelop your life and kind of take over. So it's important to find those activities that you really love doing, and continue to do those. So I was a big band nerd, so I still am.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks.
I can hop in. So I want to iterate that, like, you don't have to just do things you've done in high school. I joined the swing dance club in my last semester, and just because I wanted to do it. But I definitely the biggest time commitment, but also the most fun. I was in the blue band for my first 4 years. So that was something that kind of carried over from high school. But it was a great 2 hours a day to just step away from school, play my instrument, be with my friends who I'd known no one before entering the band. And as soon as I entered, I had 300 close friends. So like it's one, an easy way to make friends, and two, just a great way to really step back from school and just kind of enjoy what you do.
Yeah, I would also like to reiterate that it's really important to be able to take a break from what you do in your everyday life as a student, to join a club that just like completely gets your mind off of things. So for me, that was the outing club, and it's the club at Penn State that takes you out into the woods, and you have like a weekend there. You go backpacking, you can go hiking. I also got really into climbing, and so because of that club, I now have really close friends, and it gave me my like best friend and roommate for the for 3 years of college. But I also have lifelong hobbies that I'm going to be able to take with me after Penn State. So I go climbing like multiple times a week. It's a huge stress reliever for me. And I'm just really happy that I was able to do that, because clubs and experiences outside of engineering for me were just as important to my college experience, because they gave me so much of like what I value in my day-to-day life.
Thank you. That's awesome, Aaron. And then I think Morgan and Alexa still, right?
Yeah. So I took a little bit of a hiatus from clubs this past year because I had a co-op on top of like being a student at Penn State. So I was like working like a lot. I was working like 3 jobs. But when I did do clubs, I did concrete canoe my freshman and sophomore year, where we built a canoe out of concrete. And then we took it to a river and raced it in a competition. And that was really fun, because while it is still engineering related, most of the time you were just kind of like fooling around and like building the canoe with all of your friends. And it was just like a really fun time.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, again, when you've got the time for it and stuff. And then did you guys lose any canoes? Or did they all make it, did all the canoes make it out of the water, or did they?
So when I raced it my freshman year, it was the last race, and we finished. We won the last race, and we had 4 people in the canoe. But as we were crossing the finish line, the canoe was completely underwater. And they had to like come out in a little rescue boat and like gather us. And they were like, "Let go of the canoe." And we were like, "No, we worked so hard on it." And they were like, "To let it go."
It's a very poetic ending to the concrete canoe season there. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Alexa, anything for you?
Yeah. So I can touch on one more like engineering club that I'm in. So I'm in Engineers Without Borders, which is similar to like what you might have heard with Doctors Without Borders. So with that club, I've gotten to travel to Honduras, and then this summer we were planning to go to Uganda, but that didn't quite happen, but that's okay. So with that club, we use things that we learn in our engineering classes. So I worked on a project with water distribution. So we designed a water well for this community in Uganda. I've also worked on solar arrays to help power water pumps in Honduras. So it's a really cool club. And while it's not directly like what I learned as a chemical engineer, it was just a really cool way to like learn some new skills that I wouldn't have learned otherwise, and also to kind of work on that teamwork. And it was also just like a lot of great people in the club. So while it wasn't exactly a break from engineering, I've been in all 4 years, and it's been a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, we've had some alumni come back who've been involved with the Engineers Without Border program, and they do some awesome work. That's a really neat organization. Oh, yeah. Excellent. All right, we'll have time for one more question to wrap it up, and let's do let's do the classic. If you can imagine yourself as like a freshman in high school, looking at you like now, what aspect of you now would be most unrecognizable to yourself as a freshman in high school? How about that? What would a freshman in high school be most surprised about you as a person right now? And that'll be our closing question for today. It's a softball. It's an easy one.
So I can I can actually start with this one because I know right away. So becoming an engineering ambassador has really helped me like practice my public speaking skills and presenting skills. So throughout high school, I did not give a lot of like presentations, public speaking experience, but I think I'd be most surprised at how much like I've been able to practice that in college and how much I've been hopefully improving throughout college. So yeah, communication is really important, and being able to communicate effectively is like very important for engineers. So I think that would be what I'd be most surprised about myself.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Thanks, Alexa. Oh, yeah.
So I'll jump in. I would say how diverse my interests are. So in high school, I was very I was in band and I was in AP classes. But beyond that, like I didn't really do too much after. But now, like I said, I do too much sometimes. So like I do dancing, I do choir, I do band, I run, I am on some club teams. Like it's just like I run the gamut, and I think it's basically just because like I have it all available to me, and I realize that I just like doing stuff.
Okay, no, that's great. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks.
I think one short little thing I'd be surprised by if I was looking at what college and high school did to me was just how formative your high school years are. I think myself included, a lot of people in high school, it's just kind of like, oh, these are just classes I have to get through, whether I have to sleep through them or work overnight to do my best. Even if they're motivated students, I think it's so hard when you do try to work hard to see what you're in now rather than just where you're going. Sometimes you see it as just you want to get through high school so you can get to the next step. But after coming to Penn State, even where most students are from the same state as you, there are so many different people from so many different backgrounds with so many cool stories to tell. Don't forget to go out and just make those memories now while you're in high school, because I think they really have an impact on who you become as a person and who you are for the rest of your life. So I know every day in high school might seem kind of monotonous at times, that you're doing the same schedule day in, day out, but just don't forget to enjoy it and to do things you like doing.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks.
I can go. I think high school me would be really surprised at how many new things I've tried. Not that I wouldn't try new things in high school, but I had moved a lot as a kid, so I was not really wanting to take on a lot more new changes in my life. Kind of wanted to like keep my own little world. But since I've gotten to college, I've worked in 4 different states and I studied in another country, and I'm moving across the country after I graduate. And those are all things that I wasn't really sure if I'd ever do or even like be able to do. So the fact that I'm now doing those things and I'm excited about them and I'm really comfortable doing them, like putting myself in new situations and doing things that scare me, makes me kind of impressed with myself, and I think would really make freshman high school me impressed with myself.
Thanks. Awesome.
I can add on. So in high school, I was pretty outgoing and generally, but I really just stuck to my main group of friends. And so going to college, I really saw that like I have friends everywhere I go, and every new opportunity I see is like a new chance to make new friends, whether it's a new club I'm joining or, a new class that I have. So I definitely think if I was freshman me in high school looking on me now, I would see that, it's great to be outgoing and to like gain new experiences with new people, because everyone is a potential friend.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. So I think that freshman year, like freshman me in high school, would be really surprised by how much I've learned how to ask for help in other people. I know in high school I was like very independent. I just kind of did everything by myself. But as you get deeper into your career, no matter what you're doing, you never have all the skills that you need to complete a specific project. And so you're always going to need help from someone else. So learning how to ask for that help, I think, was really important. And I would not expected me to be able to do that, like 7 years ago?
He's counting. Yeah, it's just a number.
Yeah, just a number.
Okay, well, hey, I know I've kept us a little technically past our window, but I mean, I thought this was an excellent conversation with a super diverse group of very engaging and dynamic individuals. I mean, you guys all had interesting stuff to contribute, and you guys are all taking different paths, but you all sort of have this same shared experience through the Engineering Ambassador Program. So kudos for Ms. Moraldi for putting all these awesome people together in the same chat room. It's an amazing group of students you guys have there at Penn State, and it sounds like there's a lot of really awesome opportunities there. So you guys represented your campus very well, and that's coming from me, who graduated from Pitt. So it pains me a little to say that, but it sounds like you guys are getting a very good education at Penn State. So I guess I can't really complain about it too much anymore. So and with that, again, there's a couple questions here and there in the Zoom chat that we didn't get a chance to get to. Ms. Moraldi, I might address them to you, and then maybe we can get those answered on an individual basis. But I do extend the appreciation of the Norwin School District to all you guys for taking time out on a Thursday morning to talk with us. I wish you guys the best of luck in your individual studies, wherever form that may take us in the next couple months. And if you're close to graduating, good luck to you, Emma. Good luck on your move across the country. Jeremy, good luck getting out of Penn State if you after 5 years.
Thank you.
6-year senior, is that a thing? Are they going to invent a new?
Oh, it's a thing. I don't think it's for me. I don't think.
I mean, I'd be glad to keep him another year. I was excited when he was staying a 5th year. I mean, I'll keep him around.
You're gonna have to start paying him. He's gonna become like an adjunct professor, just sort of merge into one of the okay. And again, to all of our students who tuned in, I appreciate you guys taking the time to be a part of the conversation. Hopefully, you guys picked up something as well. And to everyone, I hope you guys all have a safe and healthy weekend. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
guys.
Good luck to all the high schoolers with the rest of your year.
Yeah,
good luck to all the Norwin students.